Well, welcome back to another Romance Realigned Pick a Card reading. What you need to do at this point is to take a look at the Lover's cards up on the screen, and you need to pick the card that resonates with you the most. It's going to be a different vibe for each one, and each of those Lover's cards represents the pile that I'll be taking from to read for you and your situation, okay? So this is a time, if you haven't already started, to think about what resonates with you the most, and then I'll see you back here in just a second. If you pick the Wildwood Tarot, this is what I'm going to be working with first, okay? So what happens is I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. Well, automatically we've got the Two of Stones, the challenge. This is the central theme for this particular spread. So definitely a bit of a fight I see going on here. You might be at odds with this particular partner. By the way, I'm pulling a Celtic cross spread, and I apologize if you hear my kitty cat screaming. It's just about dinner time for her. We've also got the Page of Stones, the link. So this is a decently small big cat, right? It's not the biggest by any means, but it's a heavyweight, and it can pull prey up trees if it needs to, if I'm not mistaken. This is a deeply, fiercely protective, small predator that should not be taken for granted. So there is your central theme, and there's also your challenge. You might be kind of a solitary individual who is deeply protective of at least the people in your care. If you have any dependents, if you have any minors or any fur babies, you don't have to have any kids. Then getting together with somebody, as you see down here on the bottom, might be a real issue for you. Okay, just keep that in mind. This could be somebody's baby daddy, could be somebody's baby mama, and there's this rocking back and forth between, do we get back together, do we stay separate? And with all this earth energy, I'm getting Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. There's the potential for some obstinacy, for some stubbornness from both parties, not just from you, okay? Take it as it resonates. I'm going to continue to take from the top. We've got another page card. This is the Page of Bows, also known as the Page of Wands. This is appearing in the past. So this is about quickly moving towards something. There's a lot of sexual energy associated with the Wands suite in general. So this might have kicked off something that felt like very much a whirlwind romance. And if it wasn't romantic, it might have been, there was a lot of tight sexual energy that let you feel like that maybe there was something way deeper underneath the surface. But I feel like the egos are fighting pretty hard, and there's something within you that says, I need to protect myself from you, when that may or may not be the case at all. Excuse me. I don't know how much thinking, how much feeling went into this relationship before it started. I do see a small creek in the background underneath this particular stoat, and it does indicate that there was at least a small trickle of feelings, but I don't see that here, and neither do I see that in your challenge card. I'll put it upside down like this. I see quite a bit of rock energy, earthy energy, okay? Going to continue to take from the top. You've got the Eight of Bows appearing in your conscious position above the challenge card, above the central theme card, okay? This is hearth fire. Specifically, this is the more masculine oriented. There we go. The more masculine oriented card, because it's the Four of Bows that's the more feminine oriented card, and there is no gender in tarot. But I'm getting more that consciously this is somebody who would rather hang out with their buddies, rather hang out with their friends than they would with this particular romantic relationship. It's like this relationship ran its course a while back, and consciously you're trying to get consciously, and I'll see what unconscious here is in just a second, but you don't really want to hang out with this person. I wonder if there isn't just a whole lot of stress around this particular person, battling for ego, for dominance, and it feels like right now you're trying to relax with people who don't put those kinds of pressures on you. Okay, take it as it resonates. So throughout all these spark of life, throughout all of these challenging sparks being thrown up by y'all, possibly fighting, possibly loudly, I hope that there's no physical violence at this particular point. But something new is starting, and you may or may not be aware of this. This could be the start of a temporary at least, path of singleness or solitude for you. This might be the time for you to start to realize that being in a romantic partnership, or even like a semi-romantic, semi-sexual partnership, isn't the way to go at this particular time. I'm again getting like baby daddy, baby mama kind of energy from this, okay? So something new is starting, but I don't know that with all this earthy energy, with the stubbornness, obstinacy even, I don't know if you are fully prepared to start moving consciously towards this new way of doing things. It can be about a spiritual path if you want to make it that way. One is absolutely about the holy flame that resides within us all. But this is also about doing something new and different for yourself that you know is going to bring you success, okay? Y'all, this is in your future. Not a great place. This is the six of stones, exploitation. So you've got an elderly man and a young girl begging. The land has been burnt. The beehives in the back, those are beehives that you see up on those stones in the background. They're all busted. There are no bees. And their tools lie beside them to the left. They're broken. Those tools that they would use to garden are broken. They are destroyed. And part of this has to do with destroying the environment around them. Not them specifically, but their tribes. There's this idea of going scorched earth that is going to really, really destroy stuff. It is best to let this relationship go entirely and start focusing on yourself and on new ways of doing better things for yourself than it is to continue to try to fight and try to bring things back together. There is no real peace to be had in this particular situation. This card is warning you that if you continue to stay in this situation and continue to have this back and forth of we're together, we're not, we're together, we're not, and in between all these crazy fights, there's this idea that there could be a whole lot more damage in the future than you would ever really want to have. Once the dust clears and you step back, there's the risk that you could find yourself in this situation of what have I done? There's a real risk that you could destroy relationships, that you could destroy possibly job security, housing security, because these particular fights get so far out of control. And also just, it destroys yourself and the other person to stay in this kind of energy. It doesn't have to translate necessarily to anything physical. All those stones is about pentacles. What is material? What is tangible? So this might have some real effects on your body that if you knew how things were going to end up in the future, that you would hesitate and possibly stop things now. This is not a fight worth having. These are not risks worth taking. It is time to let this individual go, to let the end of an era be, and move into something else entirely. Now, because this is in the unconscious position, the universe is shoving you onto this path whether you realize it or consciously manipulate, interesting, whether you consciously move in that direction or not. The universe is creating this for you. It's up to you to decide what kind of future this is going to be. If you make a better choice now, this card changes into something else. You'll get another card, possibly planting something new with the Seven of Pentacles. What comes after that particular card, okay? You've got another ace right here. This lands in your advice position. At this point, I'm building the rod that goes to the right of your cross. This is the Ace of Stones, the foundation of life. I'm getting, once again, a lot of stone and fire energy. Let me just say that these are opposing energies. If you were to look at a zodiac wheel, or I should say like a birth chart wheel or something like that, for instance, you would see how a lot of those energies are at odds with each other. Not all the time, okay? But when you have like earth and fire energies, those are not energies that go well together. There might have been a real opposites, extreme opposites attract kind of situation. But this is asking you to ground yourself. You do have a lot of earth energy I'm getting from you. You could be a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus. You're being asked to tap into that, reground yourself, and grow something new for yourself. You've got these two cards for yourself. Start over. Let this be the end of an era. Move away from this individual. As hard as this may be, therapy is going to be great for you. Your current environment is the Green Man, also known as the Emperor in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. This is the entity who puts limits, gives rules, and, if need be, ends things that are not good for creation as a whole. Capital C creation, if that makes sense, okay? So this is your current environment. Something is being limited, and it is in your best interest to follow those limitations, allow those limitations to exist, and simply go with the flow of the universe. The universe wants to take you in an entirely different direction than what you're currently heading down right now. Remember that this is in your future, but it is changeable. You don't have to be this way. If you start grounding yourself now, that Six of Stones exploitation card changes because you have free will still. Your hopes and your fears, I'm kind of not surprised to see this, is you don't want to start something new here. This is the Fool, also known as the Wanderer for the Wildwood. You don't want to start something new. This particular relationship is comfortable, something that I would also expect to see with Stones, Pentacles, earthy energy. So I might be speaking to a Taurus here. You need to take it as it resonates. You might have some very powerful Taurus energy somewhere in your birth chart, but I don't feel like you easily get into new situations. In fact, I feel like you actively resist this because there's a deep fear towards striking out away from the unfamiliar. But I'm getting from the universe that it's inevitable. Whether you choose this willingly, ground yourself, leave the situation, or things go in such a way that you have no choice but to leave towards better, greener pastures. Scorched earth. Be aware of destroying the relationships around you, not just the relationship between you and this person that you had a brief sexual-ish, romantic-ish fling with, okay? You weren't meant to be with this person long term. Ancestor is also known as the Hierophant. You're being asked to pay attention to people who can lead you onto better paths because you deserve better. First of all, though, you need to take the leap of faith, so to speak, that you see with this Fool Wanderer card, and at that point, you can use the courage that you got from that leap of faith to follow the entity that you see here with the Ancestor. And it may be literally that you have ancestors who are trying to pull you away from this particular path, and it could be that, not deliberately, you've not been listening to them. On the other hand, you might have been getting some psychic pulls from somewhere, but you can't necessarily put your finger on it. This particular entity is going to be able to help you put your finger on that. Ultimately, you are meant to become your own high priest, your own high priestess. You shouldn't ultimately need, at the end of the day, someone to lead you always. This is great for beginning stages, the beginning stages of a spiritual journey, but not always. At some point, you are meant to find your own path because you've gotten to that point where you've grounded yourself, that you can find your own good path for yourself. It might be with another individual. It definitely won't be with this one. They seem to bring out the worst in you, with all due respect, okay? With that being said, just because this lands in the future position does not mean that it is set in stone, no pun intended. Absolutely. You can change this. But first, ground yourself, and then second, you need to start following spiritual leaders who can take you onto the paths that you're meant to go. They may be able to offer clarity in your particular situation that right now might feel kind of difficult because there's so much fiery energy, destructive energy with this particular relationship, okay? Excuse me. No cups, no swords. This is definitely one that feels extreme in not a good way, okay? I hope that you do find your grounding. I hope that you do get to avoid this. I hope that you find a new way of doing things for yourself. I hope that you choose to take a leap of faith. Okay? I respect that this message was not easy to hear. And if you got to this particular point, you're someone to be respected. Okay? I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care and good luck. If you picked the Rider-Waite-Smith Lover's card, welcome. Excuse me. I'm going to shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. Spirit says no reversals yet. We're going to be shuffling quite possibly for a little bit. Okay. And now, reversals go in. I'm going to put it where you can see it, okay? There we go. Reversals. And I know that you saw what just was on the screen, what went in reverse. Let's take a look at those energies. There may be something in the reversals that we need to be aware of, and those cards don't necessarily pop up. But 10 of Cups in reverse, I saw that. What's on bottom? It's the Knight of Wands. It's in reverse. That's your central theme. I'm making a Celtic cross with these particular cards. This is about not going for something that you should have gone for. No regrets. You might or might not be offered another opportunity from the universe. I'm getting you will. This is interesting. The Hierophant. Challenge, assist is going to be up to you. Now this is interesting. The Wildwood Tarot, when I just did their reading, they ended with the Hierophant, or with the Wildwood's version of the Hierophant. So this is interesting. I'm wondering if a spiritual leader can't get you back on track. I wonder if you haven't been doing this alone without guidance. And I'm wondering if there isn't someone outside of yourself that can provide you some clarity, provide you with some guidance. There's the possibility that they may be able to say something that helps you go, oh, that's a good point, and changes things for you. Because I don't know that this is someone who, I wonder if you don't easily put out your own fire when it comes to romantic, even sexual situations. Wands can be about like very, very passionate connections, and it can also be about just straight sex too. It can also be about a spiritual journey, about creativity, the holy fire within, okay? We're taking from the top. This is the Eight of Cups. It's in the past. So you did leave something behind in the past when it came to romantic, even sexual partnerships. And you don't have to be romantic. You don't have to be sexual in order necessarily. Well, this is a romance reading, right? But I'm trying to speak to the asexual folks, to the aromantic folks as well. leaving something behind that should not have been left behind. And I'm seeing that because this is appearing in reverse in the past, that there's a real possibility that you'll be forced to have a reckoning with having left this behind in the past when you weren't meant to do so, okay? This is probably you being guided to learn how to not put out your own fire. And that's a hard lesson for people to learn, especially if you've been hurt. I definitely feel like I've been speaking to somebody who's been hurt in the past, and they're like, you know what, just fuck all relationships then. And I get that so hard, so completely, okay? There is a kind of stagnancy with that kind of feeling, though, and I'm wondering if this Hierophant character, individual in your life, can't help you start moving you out of that particular thought process. And keep in mind, this does not need to be an earthly person at all. This could be an ancestor who's passed on, for instance. This could be a deity who's been with you since birth, who's watched you go through life, and it's possible that you haven't had contact with them yet. And this is the time for you to get in contact with them. Take that as it resonates. This could be a person who's here on earth with you. This could be somewhere on the other side of the veil, in the heavenlies, okay? This is appearing in your conscious position. You're not working with anybody right now on this particular thing. I'm wondering if you aren't a bit isolated here, okay? Take this as it resonates. I'm surprised, Spirit didn't have me shuffle that much, but I'm also getting that you're kind of meant to look at the reversals here and tell yourself that this is wrong energy that you're finding yourself in, that you're possibly creating for yourself, okay? We've all been there, okay? You've got a whole bunch of people in that boat with you, okay? What's important is that you don't stay there. It's important that you recognize that you are there first, and then start taking steps to get out. The stagnancy is what could spiritually kill you, okay? In reverse, this is the King of Cups. This is the potential to head towards emotional maturity, but I wonder if you aren't actually shoving it away. This is earth and fire energy, or excuse me, not earth and fire. That was the Wildwood. That's interesting, okay? So there could be something in that previous Wildwood reading that could be of some use for you. I'm wondering if that, like the Wildwood people, were the people who would fight for a particular relationship, and this is a more avoidant person. Take it as it resonates, okay? But this is someone who has allowed their watery energy to overwhelm the fire, and they are stagnant. They don't want to move forward. Inertia, an unwillingness to move forward. I'm definitely reaching out to the Hierophant at this time is going to be helpful. Six of Cups, this is going to be about a missed connection from a past lifetime that you are meant to join, that you're meant to enjoy in the future. This is landing in your future position too. There's that risk. If this is indeed, if you believe in the twin flame stuff, I don't know that I do always necessarily. This could be someone from a past lifetime who you're meant to be together, and you miss this individual because you just give up. Okay? I don't feel like you were meant necessarily for a path of singleness. Okay? Interesting, here's your upright card. It's landing in the advice position. I'm starting the rod, which lands next to your cross, okay? Knight of Pentacles, someone who's completely independent and needs nobody else, does not want anybody else, because why would they? They've got everything they could possibly want right here. This is someone who has a lot of wealth for themselves, and they aren't necessarily giving it to others. It's not being depicted in this particular card. They're enjoying it for themselves. There's a lot within you that you're keeping entirely to yourself, and it's not a bad place to be because it's not in the reverse position like the other cards have been. It is in the upright. So I do feel like you are a genuinely well-meaning individual who's just trying to do the best things possible for themselves in life. I do see that you have been seriously hurt in the past, and that's part of what is pushing this. Okay? On the one hand, you are content with yourself, but I also wonder if this isn't you burying some stuff, because you just don't want to look at it. It's better to be alone than it is to try again with somebody who would break your heart and leave you high and dry in a place where you would have to struggle to get back to this particular place. This is a love of independence, a love of taking care of yourself. And again, that's not a bad place to be, and I do see you being a well-meaning, kind, well-meaning, well-intentioned individual. Another upright card. This is in your current environment. You're a very strong individual, and you're a gentle kind of strong too. This is a lion who is tilting its head back in kind of an uncomfortable position, let's be honest. That's not something that they always love to do. You don't see them naturally doing that in the wild, right? But this is a woman who is closing this lion's mouth, and the lion is just letting it happen. He's not clawing her up, and I don't know that you can have that kind of gory stuff on these kinds of cards and call them child-friendly, but he's not doing anything to resist this. You are a very strong person, but it's also kind of friendliness because he's licking her. My eye was drawn to that, and this is not a good quality camera, okay? But there is a kind of affection between these two characters. You do have an inner strength, which is a force to be reckoned with. And I guess I wouldn't expect any less with the Nine of Pentacles together with the Strength. Okay? Both of these cards are subsets, are echoes of the Empress card. So I'm most likely speaking to someone who has their queens all under one roof. Queen of Pentacles, swords, cups, and bows, wands, all under one roof. You are the Empress, but I wonder if you haven't built castle walls around yourself so tall that nobody can get in. Not even people who love to climb rock walls. They can't get in. You have built some very solid walls around yourself, and I wonder if they don't need to come down. Okay, another upright card. Page of Wands. The other group got this too. The Wildwood people got this too. I think this is another example of people needing to watch each other's readings, okay? Page of Wands. You're afraid of starting something new. And guess what? The Wildwood people got the Fool in this particular position with the hopes and fears. This is about being afraid of starting something new because you're afraid it's going to blow up in your face. They're afraid of taking a leap of faith, the Wildwood people are. Well, that's at least what their spread said. There's this idea of starting. It's not just starting something new. It's you becoming something else. You have the Knight of Wands. It's in reverse with the central theme. You're being asked to start down the path of becoming the King of Wands because this is about hierarchy too. This is about emotional, spiritual maturity. So when you mature in a particular different way, then you can grow from this particular point into the upright Knight of Wands. This is just a starting point for you. This is you deliberately choosing a new way of doing things for yourself so that you can put this in the upright position, okay? And keep in mind that unconsciously, this is in the reversed position. Water, extinguishing fire, because what's the point, is what you may have caught yourself saying, okay? Last and not least, the King of Swords. Even though this is in the upright position, I wonder if there isn't a real harsh angle to how you keep people out of your secret garden. There's your advice. Well, there's your advice card. And there's your outcome card. Together with your future card, there's the real risk that you could keep the wrong person, gatekeep the wrong person, exactly the wrong person, out of your life. I am so sorry for what you have been through in the past. It cannot have been easy for to be getting this kind of energy from your particular spread, okay? Mad respect that in spite of everything, that you choose to be this. That's incredible, dude. So I'm wondering if you can't take other steps to let the right people in. That does not mean that you let people in. You let this person in. Okay? No more from me. I understand that this might have been a difficult message for you to listen to. And if you got to this particular point, which this card indicates that you are that kind of person, you're very clearly a cool individual who needs to adjust how they operate when it comes to romantic and sexual, if that vibes with you. It's asking you to change how you approach those relationships in the future, because there's somebody coming that you're not going to want to miss. Okay? Thank you for getting to this point. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Good luck. If you picked the Numinous Lovers Tarot card, welcome. Let's take a look at your energies. I haven't shuffled yet or put reversals in, so let's do that right now. Here we go. Half and half. There goes one, and off we go. So I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. I'm going to be making a Celtic cross spread for y'all. Okay. That was a good shuffle. The artwork for this particular deck is just so powerful, dude. This is the Nine of Bells, also known as the Nine of Swords. Deep anxiety, the entity in this particular image, is constrained. They can't get away. Or, you know what? It looked like there were bandages on them, kind of like the Eight of Swords kind of energy. They can't stop listening to the chimes. They can't get away from it. They can't get away from their anxieties. I wonder if this isn't a romance that went catastrophically wrong, or you're just very afraid of the future when it comes to opening yourself up to another individual who could hurt you, or at least in your mind, who could, whether they actually would or not. That was from the bottom of the deck. That was the bottom of the energy. And you have the Hanged One in reverse. It's a gorgeous card. This is suspending yourself even when the universe says it's time to cut yourself down from the tree, so to speak, and start moving towards a future together with this particular person, whoever they may be. Or at the very least, start moving towards yourself and start asking, what is genuinely underneath all of this stuff? I'm wondering if there isn't someone who suffers from borderline personality disorder, and they're afraid of fucking up another romantic relationship where they feel like the other person did not deserve the flurry of feelings and anger that the disease in your mind kind of forces onto you. And it becomes very difficult for it not to unleash onto others. Okay? You're still being told that this is not the place. A state of being suspended in anxiety about romantic relationships is not the place that you're meant to be. Now, here's the thing. If someone stays up in the tree for too long, the universe will cut them down. And it might be more painful than you choosing to leave that particular space by yourself willingly. Okay? There needs to be so much heavy therapy with this particular reading. This is just the first two cards. I mean, like, extraordinary amounts of therapy. You might have been in a sexually abusive relationship in the past, and you are absolutely valid in your feelings of deep anxiety And I'm getting the energy of someone who needs to let the past go. And I am so sorry if that is painful for you to hear. In the reverse position, you have the Founder, also known as the Emperor. It's in reverse. I wondered if you didn't, unfortunately, find yourself entangled with someone who was deeply destructive to you. This is absolutely someone who was a karmic connection for you, and I'm getting just this idea of someone's heart being torn apart. Through this particular person's behavior, through how they limited you. There may have been a part of you that feels like that they killed a part of you, killed a kind of your innocence, if you will. And I'm getting from the universe that it's time to let it go. To let go. This tree isn't one that you're meant to be hanging up in anymore. I'm wondering if you aren't somewhere in your 20s. I'm getting someone who's a bit on the younger side. And that may not be the case at all. You might have some more emotionally young energy, for instance, and that's okay. The Founder is in your past, and that's the thing. He stays in your past. He, she, they, whatever their gender may be, okay? This is all about, there is no gender in tarot. But this was so catastrophic for you that it's put you in a state of isolation, in a state of avoidance at all costs, even if these aren't people that you should avoid. There might be some people coming into your life that you're meant to have. We've got the Dreamer of Vials. It's the Page of Cups in reverse. There is the risk that you have been so badly hurt that you're not willing to go reach out for anything kind of hopeful when it comes to romantic partnerships. Okay? The entity in this particular image, and I know you can't see it, they've been cutting themselves, and it's obvious the scars are there, and in spite of all that, they are open to new beautiful things. In spite of all the emotional destruction they've been through, they're open to something new starting. This is water and earth energy. This is the start of something new that flows well and builds something beautiful. And I feel like you're avoiding this when it comes in the reverse position. Your anxiety has absolutely blown things out of reality for you. Your anxiety is taking your mind places where reality does not exist. This is absolutely someone who needs to go into intense therapy if you aren't already there. Okay. You've got the Dreamer of Candles. I said the Page of Cups, didn't I? Yeah, the Dreamer of Vials. That's what you have in the reverse position, in your conscious position. But in your unconscious position, you've got the Dreamer of Candles, the Page of Wands. You are starting something new, unconsciously. Now, this is interesting. The Wildwood and the Rider-Waite-Smith spreads that I did, they also pulled the Dreamer of Candles or the Page of Wands or the Page of Bows or whatever it was. Everybody that I'm reading for with this particular video needs to start to do new things. And I see that unconsciously you are doing new things. Now, whether or not those are things that should be done remains to be seen. It's going to resonate with you whether these are destructive things that you should be doing, destructive new things, or encouraging, building up to new things that will lead you to happiness, to success in the future. Take it as it resonates. And now we've got the third there. I swear to God, there's some serious synchronicities in all three of the readings that I'm doing today, because they also got the Hierophant too. This is the Visionary with this particular deck. You're being led to somebody in the future who can take you who can inspire you to think in new ways. There's also the ability that you could grow in. There's also the possibility that you could grow into this particular energy and become the Hierophant for other people who have been through similar situations. Take it as it resonates, but definitely I'm getting some similar cards across all three spreads, and I don't think that's something to be taken lightly at all. Definitely, this is the time. If you don't have any earthly guides, that's fine. There are guides behind the veil who are absolutely ready and waiting, actually, for you to reach out to them and ask, and have you ask them for help to get out of this situation, get out of this anxiety, state of suspension, stagnancy that you're not meant to be in. This Hierophant, guides on either side of the veil, can help you figure out what candles you want lit and what need to stay extinguished. Like the candle that you'd associate with anxiety, that needs to be extinguished. A new way of doing things for yourself. We're building the rod. This is the bottom of the rod. This is in the advice position. This is the 9 of vials, 9 of cups. The advice is to find a place where you are deeply happy, to think of the things that make you deeply happy on a psychological, level. They scratch and itch like nothing else can. It's about feeling good in your own skin. It's about feeling settled and at peace within yourself, with your emotions. You're being asked to find a way to that particular point. Sorry for my whistling throat. Your current environment is the shadow, and it is in alignment with the Hanged One in reverse. This would be normally the devil in the Rider-Waite-Smith. This is about being enslaved to your own emotions, in many ways, being enslaved to your own mind. In addition to pursuing therapy, I wonder if pursuing a meditative practice wouldn't be deeply helpful to you. There are a number of fantastic videos on YouTube that will teach you how to meditate. And there are, let's say, for instance, I use the app Insight Timer. I use it for iOS, but I'm pretty sure they make it for Android too. I've been using Insight Timer to help me keep track of how long I meditate, for instance. It helps me find some spoken meditation. I often listen to songs. But if you want some spoken meditative tracks, Insight Timer has that as well. I strongly encourage everybody to take on a meditative practice, but for you especially, it's going to be a combination of therapy and meditation that's going to get you back onto a path of healing so that you aren't scared, that you aren't out of your mind afraid of what could happen if you entered into another romantic partnership that, by the way, might not imitate this past one at all. I'm wondering if this wasn't a karmic lesson, just kind of one and done, and this was just so traumatic for you that it kind of blew everything else out of the water for you when it came to romantic sexual partnerships. And the sexual stuff you might be so avoidant towards, and I'm kind of getting that energy from this too. I'm sticking with the understanding that this individual ran the risk. There's the possibility this individual was sexually abusive towards you. Your existence is not permission. You did not deserve what happened to you, and I will not be the only one who tells you that. Excuse me. You have a lot to work through, but that doesn't mean that it is impossible. This is holding on to this. I was just paying attention to the ribbons. It's around the throat chakra, and it's tied. I know it's around the hands, but the hands are pointed down towards the root chakra. You're not speaking about what has happened that causes you to lose creativity, to lose inspiration, to lose energy, and also to lose sexual energy as well. You're not ready to talk about that, and you don't have to be yet. But this is a place that you're meant to move out of. I respect that this is a very difficult message for you to hear. Your hopes and your fears are getting back into another relationship. This is the 2 of vials, 2 of cups. It's a mermaid and a human finding synchronicity with one another. You're afraid of a relationship having that feeling of we get each other, we vibe with each other, and then it evolving into a situation like this. I wonder if you don't mistrust your ability to find the people in your life who are good, to attract people into your life, I should say, who are good, who mean well for you. I don't feel like you're in a place that you can trust yourself to be there. And this is where reaching out to a guide on either side of the veil, earthly or in the heavenlies, okay? This is where getting in touch with those guides is going to be most helpful for you. A spiritual path to lead you out of this particular situation that you find yourself in is key to you fully healing yourself, to coming into a place of deep happiness once again, in spite of everything that you've been through. Your guides will absolutely, ancestors even, will be thrilled to help you find your path towards true peace, true happiness. You don't have to be in a romantic partnership necessarily in order to conquer these feelings. You don't have to say, you can say, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life, but I'm going to conquer this fear of entering into a romantic relationship. You can have both, okay? One more. You've got the 5 of Candles. This is about jealousy, about people fighting over what you have, pushing you to the side. There's something about your healing process that's going to piss off a lot of the people around you. They're going to see you on your spiritual path, if you choose to take one, or they're going to see you on a path towards healing, and they're going to try to shove you off your path. Keep in mind that these are probably people that you don't need in your life, even if they are family. If family's going to pull you off your spiritual path towards healing, then they don't need to be in your life, regardless of what kind of family they may be. Your guides may lead you onto paths of healing that your family will be like, what the fuck are you doing? It's very possible that you are surrounded by family members who lack emotional, spiritual, mental maturity, and so they try to foist their own miseries onto you. There may be quite a bit of work that you need, generational trauma, family trauma, that you'll need to work through in addition to your own trauma. There's a lot of hurt that I feel is accumulated with this particular spread, and it needs to be released before you can move on to other places. It doesn't necessarily need to be another romantic relationship at all. It could be. For some of you, you are being called to a romantic relationship so that you can flow with someone divine as opposed to someone be hurt by someone karmic, if that makes any sense. So Spirit is asking me to close out this particular reading, and they're also acknowledging that you have been through an incredible amount of pain, that you did not deserve to go through the vast majority of what you have gone through, that this isn't your fault. And yet, it's now your responsibility to heal yourself. I will reiterate again, therapy and meditative practices are how you slowly start the healing process. And at first, this might be genuinely painful when you start to face off the memories, the traumatic memories that you've accumulated over time. It's going to hurt at first. And it's going to be about practicing looking at those memories for what they are. That you're going to come into your own strength and build off of the experiences that you've accumulated, I should say, and teach others how to leave their places of stagnancy, leave their trauma behind in the past, and become someone new entirely. And I'm stumbling over my words at this point. It's time to close out. Again, I acknowledge that this was a hard message to hear, and if you got to this particular point, you're a very strong person. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and good luck to you.